Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe and Star vs. the Force of Evil, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Today, Michelle and I will be taking your questions and comments on the latest episode of Steven Universe, Storm in the Room. Aired yesterday. We're recording this on Saturday. That aired this Friday the 17th. We podcasted on this. We had our main episode discussion yesterday, along with Sam, me, and Michelle, and now we'll be taking your questions and comments. I'm filling in for Justin here on our feedback show. But usually Justin, Michelle will be taking your questions and comments every week. So next week, listen to the episode discussion, comment on it, and then we will discuss is the protocol. So check out overlyanimated.com and search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or other podcatchers. So yesterday we talked about Storm in the Room. We've been able to the discourse TM has developed since then on this episode. It is.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I've been paying that much attention, but I've been seeing what people have been commenting at the very least. And I feel like it's been kind of stratified. Any differing thoughts since the last 24 hours?
No, yeah, it's only been 24 hours, so my thoughts are basically the same.
They're the same, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, me as well. Okay. So we've some comments here. We mostly website comments here from overlyanimated.com. There's a lot of different topics. At the end, I'm going to want to remember to speculate in more detail on Rocknaldo. I think that'll be fun. Yeah. We need to have deep speculations on Rocknaldo, so we'll do that at the end. But until then, there's a lot of topics to get into, and I don't know how easily they group together. So let's start with Joseph's email forwarded to me by Justin. Joseph says, "Hey, Justin, Michelle, no, sorry."
Half right.
Yeah,
there.
half right. No, it was scheduled to be, but it was not. I really enjoyed the episode. I'm really happy we finally got to see Steven talking to his mom, kinda. I was thinking before watching the episode that because it's Rose's room, her subconscious would be in the room, so he would actually be talking to her.
Oh.
Do you think what do you think the episode would have been like if Rose was actually there in the room instead of Steven talking to himself? So I think that's a big question, and we definitely talked about this last night. How it was just Steven's perception of Rose.
Yeah, the whole time.
Do you think that there was any part of that? Do you think there's any truth to it being any amount of Rose in actuality?
It's hard to say because the first time he went into Rose's room, it seemed like the whale was kind of Rose, right? So is part of her subconscious maybe actually in the room? I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe.
Yeah. Let me jump to part of Devon's comment here that relates to this. We'll see how good I am at grouping topics like this.
Yes,
but this one at least I have. So Devon says, "I feel as though what Rose said at the end about the tape was actually genuine. Her tone shifted, and she sounded more like Rose and less like a robot impersonator. I really, really, really want to believe that somehow she could communicate to him through the room, since it was her room where they share the same gem. And she said something along the lines of, 'I've always been there,' or something. I hope an Endgame would have them truly communicate." So what do you think of that? Because that tape moment is kind of weird and different from the rest of the part of the episode.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess it does bring up the point that, he is half of Rose. He has her gem, so maybe she's able to communicate with him through the room via, the fact that she's also part of him.
Right. That's not an absurd thought, right?
That's not. Yeah. But it's just hard to think, at what point is that legitimate, and at what point is it just, literally his imagination? How do we know for sure when it changes, if that is possible?
Yeah. The tape thing I don't think is supposed to be real Rose. My interpretation of that is Steven's that is the reason that she says something so specific, because it sounds really weird. I think just bringing up something like a specific thing that Steven has seen is because it's Steven's subconscious referring to evidence that he himself has seen. Like that, there's no reason real Rose would bring that up. It's that it makes sense because Steven's justifying it to himself based off of something he's physically seen. So I actually think that's the biggest proof that that is Steven, not Rose. Like that's just Steven's mind.
Yeah, it is true that that's the most normal she sounded the whole episode. Like before that, the dialogue was like super odd and weird and like kind of like again, when we talked about this before, just like it seemed like what Stephen would think she would say, whereas like when she's talking about the videotape, it seemed it's something she would actually say, not just something she like Stephen would think she would say. And that's why I can see it being a little like, well, is this really her talking or not? But like I don't know if I believe it yet.
Yeah, it did. It sounded less of a Rose parody, I guess.
Yeah, it sounded less of a Rose parody for sure.
Yeah, so that would be the evidence for that. I think it's interesting to consider like the fact that Rose should be able to communicate with Steven somehow. Like, so just the notion of the fact that this is Steven projecting Rose, but Steven is Rose. So like that could make sense, you know, like who better would know what's Rose than Steven, who is Rose, right?
Yeah,
like,
in a way, yeah.
I think that's not what this episode is doing ultimately. I think this is just not supposed to be actual Rose at all. But I think that's an interesting thing to consider. Like, how might Steven and Rose be able to communicate? Yeah, it's something I've kind of been hoping for, like, you know.
Yeah, I think we all like want to have that moment when they actually talk, but this clearly was not it.
Yeah,
so
this was not it.
How will that be possible is still like a big question.
Yeah.
Because they both can't exist at the same time. So like how would they ever, you know?
Yeah, I think some answer through Steven's powers might make sense. Like Steven's powers don't make a lot of sense on their own. So just to like stretching them to incorporate Rose, I think seems fine. You know, it's not like the show is the most stringent of mythologies that this would be such a break to have this happen.
Yeah, he's always discovering new powers all the time anyway. So like I think that's totally plausible.
I also think I wouldn't be enraged if like Rose just appeared out of Steven sometime. It's like, okay, now you exist as yourself. I'm taking the gem with me. Like, I don't, you know, it.
Oh,
right. Like
that would be
obviously that's kind of out there, but like I don't think that's super contradictory of what we've seen. I guess that's the point I guess that's the point I want to make, because like a lot of people are like, okay, obviously we're never going to see Rose. Steven is Rose. It can't happen. Yeah, but the show is a very constantly evolving mythology, is what I would say.
Yeah, that's really true. I feel like we could definitely see. I just like at this point, given what we know, I don't know how that would happen. But I could see something happening where it's like, surprise, it can happen and it makes sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah. But
I don't know at this point.
And regardless of anything, it'd be like more interesting, so that justifies it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get back obviously to this is an overarching topic here. I think all of these comments basically are on Rose. So let's talk about my criticism of
okay.
Yeah, well, it was commented on and it was addressed again in some other thing I read. So let me read so for context, yesterday's podcast I said I don't like that we get these like 10 episodes of non-plot and then we rush into the plot for the season.
Right.
And then there's 10 episodes of non-plot after. So AK13 comments, not much to say except I agree with what Dylan is saying about obviously I'm going to read the Dylan agree comment.
Yeah, right.
No, but I'm taking all the comments. With what Dylan is saying about the structuring of the season, it feels like I'm slogging through the show, and I like the quiet stuff when I feel like we're actually heading in a direction with the show, but the show lacks that direction right now, so a quiet episode, even at its best, isn't doing it for me. This possibly won't be an issue when the show ends, and I have some knowledge about what 10 to 15 episodes of willy-nilly cute emotional stuff is right in front of some big plot arc. He's the second half of the comment that we'll save. So let me also read let me refer to the AV Club review for this episode by Eric Thurm, who does a great job with the Steven Universe reviews at the AV Club. Check them out. I'm going to read his intro from this week. He says, Steven Universe has been running for long enough that we know most of the characters' hang-ups, even if they're not emotionally activated in a given episode. At a certain point, the show has two options for moving its characters in new directions emotionally. Either it can introduce new information, or it can have those characters respond to existing information in new ways. In Storm in the Room, Colin Howard and Jeff Liu turned in an episode that doesn't quite do either. It's still enjoyable and provides one heartbreaking moment between Steven and Rose, but it doesn't quite move the dial. So I think that's a good way of saying what I was trying to say yesterday. Like Storm in the Room, episodes can be quiet, episodes can not be plot heavy, but it's potentially problematic when episodes just don't give us anything new, which I think is what Storm in the Room is.
I mean, I can see your point.
It's like you can have a character-focused episode that evolves a character or has a character do something interesting. Like this is just so what we've seen before from Steven. And I do think it's kind of I think it's kind of taking us in a direction that's going to be interesting eventually.
Not yet.
But and I do think this was a good episode. Like Eric Thurm gave us a B. I think that's a fair grade. I think it's a good episode. But it's just kind of odd to be moving in this giant Rose direction and then just give us more of the same with this arc.
Yeah, I don't, and it's so true that like we really don't know where the show's going at this point. And part of that might be that like this still feels like the aftermath of like season 3 finale, and like that mini arc we just had was a very like contained story of 5 episodes, so we really don't know what the main theme of this season is, and that's kind of confusing and odd at this point because we're a fair amount of episodes into it now, and to not know where we're going is like a very new kind of confusion for this show. But like, I don't know, I mean, does every episode need to progress a character? Like, have we seen every episode? Like, do filler episodes progress characters necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them do and some of them don't, basically.
Yeah.
Even something like Ronaldo will probably progress Ronaldo's character. A week from now when we're talking about the greatest new best episode of Steven Universe ever,
my God, Dylan, don't you dare. It's so new.
You'll see. Well, I like the Ronaldo episodes move forward his character, even though they have nothing to do with anything, right?
I guess, yeah.
Like I would say New Crystal Gems, I don't know. Maybe that episode does something with Connie. I think that's kind of it's kind of in a similar realm, which is why I've been frustrated because it's.
Yeah, I think that's true. Both of these episodes, the past 2, have been kind of like fine, but they haven't like. We're not seeing like a big movement in any of those characters, and maybe that's part of the frustration. I'm wondering like, well, maybe like the next couple episodes will do that, and there will be a reason why they gave us kind of like a breather. But I don't know, or maybe it is just like kind of lackluster.
Right, like and
we're in the middle of it, so it's hard to know what it's going to mean in the greater context of the season.
Yeah, I agree. And as AK13 said, it's like on a rewatch, this will probably play better, like when you're watching the season as a whole. But in the moment, this is frustrating, like just not having a direction of what's happening. I guess I don't need to spend too much more time on this, but like I don't have anything that I'm super invested in right now with this show. Like what's driving me to watch the next week? I feel like the big thing is the fact that the show is so good. Like, I think that's kind of the main thing.
The knowledge of the quality in general is what makes you want to watch.
And I actually don't think that's a good thing to have, like, keeping me invested. Like, in Star, I'm, like, super invested in how Star's arc is going to go and how Star and Marco are doing. And I don't know, like, we don't need to get into other problems with our other shows, but, it's, and I don't necessarily think that there has to be an overarching plot. But I also don't think there's a particular character thread that I'm super invested in at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, right now, the only things I really care about is, like, figuring out what's going to happen with Jasper and getting, like, the origins of how Pearl met Rose. Those are, like, the 2 things I really care about. Right, and I have no idea when those are going to happen at all.
Right, and, like, the Jasper, if you're super invested in Jasper, like, that's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. It's not, and if it did, it'd be so random, because, like, there's no lead into it at this point. Like,
the show that's clearly not an immediate plot arc for the show.
Yeah.
And giving us a clear flashback of Pearl and Rose, that's not an immediate plot arc. Like, Steven's struggle with Rose, like I've seen enough of that's kind of one of the more immediate things the show has done. I don't even like
Yeah.
Lapis and Peridot clearly aren't going anywhere specific, which is a whole another thing. But I think the show is allowed to do that, but it's more of just like a side thing. Like that's how they're treating it. And it's not enough to carry your viewing. Like, so I'm not sure what I'm tuning in to see. I'm tuning in to see this show because this show is great and like it's proven itself to be like progressive and great, but there's nothing specific right now.
Yeah, I don't think we should honestly be too worried though. Like,
yeah, I'm not worried that the show is going to be bad. Like obviously the show it's gonna be great. I'm already pumped for the new top 5 episode Rocknaldo. So it's gonna be great. But
are you like legitimately hyped for that episode, Dylan?
I'll say I'm more hyped than I was for this week's episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But I was not hyped. I mean, we didn't know Rose was going to be in this one at all, though.
Yeah,
so, like,
we didn't at all.
Yeah, their 2-minute preview. The cliffhanger was like, "What's going to happen with Connie's mom?" So that was.
Like, I feel like the way this was set up, it was supposed to hit us the way that like Lion 3 straight to video was supposed to hit us, but like it really didn't because we've like known Steven's felt this way about his mom for like a while now, and like you said, like it didn't really progress anything new. It just like confirmed what we'd already assumed.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know.
Those Lion episodes give you new stuff, yeah, and I think that's
they
the
always
reason
do.
Hit. Yeah.
So
and again. There's not to say this was a bad episode. I know there's a lot of people who are like pretty high on this episode. I think Michelle's closer to that. Yeah, and like, sure, like that's good. That's good.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not. But we're talking about like kind of more specific problems, I would say, that are not us. Yeah. Anyway. Let's take the second half of AK13's comments. So I do think a pink diamond is a live plot wouldn't complicate Rose's sketchiness if Rose was in on the plan and would actively weaken this episode. So it wouldn't. So we were talking about yesterday for context.
Yeah.
We're kind of talking about how I brought up like if it's pink diamond is alive, does that take away from Steven's angst this episode? So AK13 is saying no. I think the conclusion Steven comes to here is not just that she lies, but also she acted as a hypocrite and endangered everyone by shattering Pink Diamond. Erasing that with her having some master plan with Pink Diamond just adds to the pile of lies and take away the rest. But like you've said, it could be something else if Pink Diamond is alive. Maybe Rose didn't plan it that way, or etc. So this is kind of what I think you and Sam were responded to my question with. Like it's Rose didn't shatter Pink Diamond, but it's another thing she lied about, and that's its own thing, right?
Yeah. I can't see a way for Pink Diamond to be alive and Rose to not like know about it somehow. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
I feel like if anyone knew about it, it would have been Rose.
Yeah. I know other people are higher on that plan. I definitely don't think that's true. Like Rose has got to be intentionally doing that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I don't think Rose would just not know. I mean, she keeps so many secrets. It makes total sense that she would have known exactly what was happening.
I think that's probably where we're going, that Pink Diamond's alive and Rose knew. And I think that maybe takes us in a place that more people connect to more. We get to like a Rose is problematic because she is hiding information and isn't open, and like I don't know, it's like stuff like that, rather than Rose is problematic because she killed a bad guy, which I know a lot of people have issues with. And I don't agree with those basically, but it's maybe more of an accessible route to go with this character, and it's also maybe something more complex about Rose, like to focus in on our hiding information from people stuff that I feel like was a big part of why stuff like the beginning of Rose's Scabbard I think is kind of interesting, like that whole episode. Yeah. What do you think of that, taking her character in more of that direction?
I would be a fan of it. I mean, part of me wonders if like Rose's main goal was like, because she like it's without a doubt, no matter how much like sketch she is in other aspects, she like loves humanity like so much. And part of me wonders if like the big reason she like decided to have Steven was because she thought he'd be like the answer to the problem between like gems and humans like interacting with each other, because he's like both, right? Could he be the solution to that problem? Like maybe that was her master plan. which is kind of unfair for Steven to have to like deal with that. But like maybe that's like maybe it's not that she like wanted him to exist for his own sake, but for like what he could mean to both of those like species, you know.
Steven as a mediator between
he
humans.
like literally is though. Like he embodies both of them. He'd be the perfect person for that. Maybe that's the like end game of the show.
Steven's the avatar and the bridge between the two species, and yeah, I mean, I think getting away from the Rose Shattered Pink Diamond is like kind of getting us away from the end of Avatar, which I think people are a fan of, but like moving in this direction is like another aspect of Avatar. Everything's Avatar. Anyway, because that is kind of what we've done with Steven. It's just literally been the Yang at the end of season 3 arc. Yeah, I don't know how much I see it as a conflict between humans and gems. I think the show could go there. But, you know, like, I mean, I guess, like, at its core, this show is just X-Men, and, like, it's the crystal gems are the human-friendly. Yeah, I'm taking Justin's comic book reference, so
yeah, no worries.
I'm fulfilling that obligation.
You're fulfilling it.
Yeah. Also, I need to, on one podcast, like, so 2 months ago, I told Justin, Logan is definitely going to be bad, and it seems to not be bad. It seems to be getting great reviews, so I might need to take that back. But anyway.
All right. I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
It has like a 98% right now, so that's going well. So like the crystal gems are just like the human liking mutants, and right, I don't know that much about X-Men, but and the homeworld is the not, like, that's not, you know, Doctor Who kind of has a take on that, you know, like it's, I don't know, like I guess that's like the premise of the show. I don't know how much we've done with that, but that could be.
Yeah, we haven't done a lot with it, but it's just like it's that thing that keeps like coming up every time any homeworld gem interacts with humans, just some context. It's like, so like, is that going to ever be an issue, or is it going to be a point of just like trying to get Homeworld to leave Earth alone like permanently forever, and then we never deal with Homeworld ever again? That doesn't seem.
I think it has to be about changing Homeworld, right?
Like, yeah, it has to be about changing Homeworld. So like, I feel like it has to be a thing of like changing the nature of like Homeworld, conquering other like planets, maybe like something like that. I don't know, but I don't think the solution is just like for them to just leave humans alone. Like, we
do seem to be focusing on the gems' take on humans right now. Like the Human Zoo is kind of about that.
For sure.
Like I think the show is specifically focused in on like how the gems are humans recently with this Human Zoo, and I do feel like eventually that's not the scope of the show. Like I think at least I would like us to address the problems that Homeworld has, like in their caste system and stuff. like that.
Totally.
Yeah. So like I guess I guess we're right now in the how Homeworld relates to Earth and humans part of the show, and that's like when we're going to explore Pink Diamond, whose planet this was. But once we finish with this plot, we can get into Homeworld, and maybe that's when we meet White Diamond and stuff.
God, what the heck with White Diamond? Like, I still think White Diamond is like poofed and on Earth in the temple. Like, honestly, I think that's the only thing that makes sense at this point. But then again, that's true.
How's that the only thing? Because
nobody talks about her. We haven't seen anyone mention her. But we haven't seen a single White Diamond gem. Like the other diamonds don't even talk about her. Like, what's going on? Is she too important to ever interact with anyone else?
She's not relevant to the plot of the show, so they're not talking about her right now.
Not right now.
That's what
that's the real answer. I'll be so pissed.
I definitely don't think she's poofed, and I don't think she's the main villain. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, she's the main villain." I think we're somewhere in between on this. So I don't know. I like Steven Universe is all about like nuanced takes on people. So I think that White Diamonds can be a complicated character, but much like all of our diamonds now seem to be.
Yeah, so. they all do seem fairly complicated. Which
although
is
Yellow, people are like, "Oh, Yellow's the most complicated character."
Well, that's not true. But
we saw her express like a second of grieving. You know,
her character, but I think that was enough to be like, all right, there's a little more there. She's actually grieving in her own weird way.
Let's chill on the Yellow's like the most complex villain ever, who's like so morally gray. Like, no, come on, she's still really terrible.
She has at least like two feelings.
She has two feelings that we've seen. Yeah,
minimum amount of complexity.
Let's at least wait until feeling 3 before getting into the complex territory with this discourse. Okay. So
do you ship Pink and Blue Diamond?
Pink and Blue. I do ship Pink and Blue. Yeah. People ship Yellow and Blue. I don't like.
Well, that makes sense too. I mean, they held hands, so you might as well ship it.
Yeah. No, I'm all about the grieving over the lover.
This is Earth because no, I think it has more weight.
Yeah, I'm feeling that one. We need the romantic flashback to the to the Pink and blue diamond type thing. Yeah. Are the answer of that? Are you in on that episode?
I'm on that, but not until we get the Pearl Rose flashback. That's
okay. Yeah, that's first
since the beginning of time. So there's a wait list.
There's a wait list on the flashback episodes. Yeah. Okay. But first we'll get another Greg flashback, obviously.
Yeah, so. I know. Man. Yeah, okay. Probably though.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, frequent commenter Steve says, well, the sad thing is because Rose is still a polarizing character. Either there are those that love her and see her as perfect and others who hate her and think she's a murder monster. Steven is never going to get an objective viewpoint on Rose.
True, probably.
I think it's a good point. Like, there's no one around Steven to give him a nuanced take as like Rose is like a real person. Like,
that's so true.
Greg is just giving him this rosy, like love goggles type version of Rose, and the crystal gems, Pearl too, right? Like, then the people that don't like her are giving her the like she's the face of the rebellion. So how would Steven know?
I guess Greg would be the closest to neutral because when he met her, he didn't have this whole like relationship with her about being like a leader, and like the fact that she is an alien, I think puts a little distance. Like, yeah, he did love her, but like if we're gonna get somebody, I feel like Greg is the closest to being objective, even though like he had a life with her. Yeah, it's hard. I don't think there is any actual objective.
Yeah, I think the only ones that could give maybe an objective take are maybe Greg and I think Garnet. I think Garnet could give that.
More than Pearl, for sure.
More than Pearl, but still, Garnet still also has that like in love with Rose type thing. Like not like romantically, but like, you know.
As a leader, as the person who helped her like be okay with herself existing.
Yeah. I actually think maybe Bismuth gave Steven somewhat of a nuanced take on it. I mean, Bismuth has her own like complicated lens on things, but Bismuth like loved Rose and then like had problems with Rose, and I think that's that. And like the Bismuth stuff has been the main like catalyst behind all of Steven's view on Rose type stuff. So I think that's been pretty important. Yeah.
I guess Jasper definitely doesn't have an objective opinion of Rose, but I do think she gave a lot of really good points to consider.
Jasper gave a lot of good points to consider.
Well, from the perspective being like, because she sees Rose as like, oh, well, like the only people Rose ever gets to recruit are people who are like so desperate they have no other choice. And that's like very like, from like Jasper's perspective, because she's such like a great example of like a gem warrior, to be weak enough to like go to their side just seems like such a betrayal. Like they might as well be dead kind of thing. So from that perspective, like I can see like why she like just like really doesn't. She's not into the crystal gems at all, even though she technically respected Rose's fighting tactics, I guess.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting.
I think like you're obviously much more of a Jasper connoisseur.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jasper's great, man. We just need more of her to get more context.
I do think like a paradisized Jasper, like a Steven turned good type Jasper would probably be the answer of someone who could give an actual nuanced take on Rose. Like Jasper needs to get beyond her like homeworld indoctrination, but then after that, I think that
it's so much harder for her though, because she was like so much higher up on the totem pole.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get like the full Jasper redemption, but if we were, I think that would be like the person who could give like the nuanced Rose take. Anyway, a lot of Jasper mentions considering she's not been relevant to the show in like 20 episodes.
It's so sad.
Steve says he's seen the Peanuts thing done a million times. Like that they subvert the stereotype of playing sports with kids is something they do with their dad, but instead Steven with his mom.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's like he's like, is this what normal kids do? I'm like, well, your dad was always around, Steven. Why didn't you do that with him if you wanted to? It was interesting.
The show definitely like treats Greg with like a lot of niceness, considering he probably wasn't the greatest father. But we don't know that. But yeah, this show could get into more complicated stuff with Greg, and it doesn't seem to have any interest doing so.
It does seem like Greg's becoming a more active role, though. Like
he's better now, but it seems like season 1 he was like the deadbeat dad.
Yeah, but like that, I think that allowed to the fact that the gems were like still pretty like hostile towards him. They just like wouldn't let him into the fold yet. But now he's like totally their bro. Like even Pearl calls him like our Greg. So like I think that's an indication we'll see him around interacting with everyone a lot more. than like going off and
Yeah.
sleeping on the van in
Yeah.
spare time.
I wonder if we're doing something with Greg. I wonder if like we're building to something.
That would be interesting. I would appreciate that. I really like Greg. Like, he doesn't get a lot of time on the show, but like, he's very good hearted. He's like a very good person. I like him.
Yeah.
So I hope more's going on.
Because we kind of been having this really subtle development with him.
Yeah,
so,
it is very subtle. Like, it's there, but it's very much in the background.
Yeah. Interesting. Steve says, when Steven shook Rose's hand and said, "Nice to meet you," I have to wonder if Sour Cream had a similar experience with Marty.
Oh. I don't know if he'd shake his hand, but yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yep. I have no comments on that.
Stiff and awkward. Probably.
Yeah. The end with Greg and the gems coming back. Steven doesn't have his mom, but he has all these other loved ones. It feels like ending to a sitcom episode, like Full House. He says.
Well, I think the fact that he was like super depressed and alone for a lot of the episode didn't make it quite as sitcom at the end. It was just like kind of a relief to know that he's not actually alone. That's how I took it. That's what made it from being a neutral to almost sad episode to being like a relatively sort of maybe positive episode for me. Yeah. But I guess it could depend on your take.
It's just a very typical SU ending. Yeah. Steve's prediction for next week: Ronaldo gets taken by Homeworld at the end of the episode.
Oh my god, no! Because then they'd have to devote another whole arc to finding him, and he's not worth that.
Wow, someone's pretty rude.
I would rather have no direction for the show than that to be the motivation for the show.
Man. Just so rude to Ronaldo. Oh my god,
Ronaldo's such a mess.
You can't. I there's some misplaced
Place? No, it's not.
No, it's the loving of Jasper and the hating of Ronaldo. I think we're reversed here.
Business for no reason, and he's just so obnoxious, and he doesn't care. And it's just like, if he didn't bother other people by doing his thing, I wouldn't mind. I'd be like, let him be himself. But like the minute it like interferes with other people's lives, like it's not okay with me.
I understand being like sympathetic to Jasper and like trying to understand where she's coming from, but I feel like you're giving a lot of benefit of the doubt to Jasper that you're not giving to Ronaldo. There's my hot take on that. There's my hot take on that.
That's your hot take.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronaldo's not actively dangerous, I guess. It's just more like of an internal annoyance.
You're just annoyed at him. Yeah, that's it.
More Ronaldo episodes than Jasper episodes. Like, that also doesn't seem fair. It's just,
we need to fact check that. But yeah, okay. Let's the rest of Devon's comments. Is it just me, or is the fact that they lingered on the shot of the zoo earrings foreshadowed that they will come back in the future? What if they have a tracking device implemented and the diamonds or Holly Blue track them to Beach City?
Oh, well, that would take care of when you were asking before, like, how did the earrings not work out of rings or not? Like, maybe they do. It's like sneakier. Yeah,
I also got an ask that said, I think the earrings will come back at some point. The fact that they lingered on screen a few seconds is alluding to something. Maybe they can be tracked remotely, bringing the diamonds to Beach City. Yeah. The fact that Steven is still specifically in his zoo garb and like takes off the earrings in the episode does seem to point to them having some larger meaning.
Yeah, they have so few like minutes to fill things with.
Why is it important that this takes place right after, and like that I'm fine with that being a catalyst.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. That actually makes sense.
Yeah. Back to Devon's comments, and it is becoming more and more apparent that Steven is really short. Isn't he like 14 and the size of a toddler? Why is that? Greg is pretty big, and Rose, especially in this episode, looks like a giant compared to Steven. We know he can subconsciously and consciously control his age and extension, his height. So could he be inhibiting his height subconsciously for some unknown reason? When are we ever doing something with this Steven's birthday? Like him not developing at the rate of a normal person. Like, are we going to do something with that?
I think that's one of those things where if it becomes relevant to an episode, they'll address it. And if not, then they don't worry about it. Because, which they can totally do, because no one's ever existed like Steven before Steven. So there are no rules. Like, there's nothing normal. So it is kind of like up to what they decide to do with it. I do think it might be in relation to like how mature he wants to feel about himself, I don't know. Different board artists can draw proportions slightly different, so that might be why he felt a lot smaller in this episode. Rose is like 8 feet tall, isn't she?
Yeah, Rose probably just a giant. Yeah,
she's like really big.
Clearly, at some point, we have to do something with the Steven abnormal growing. I don't know why. Yeah, well, eventually they're going to do something with it, I guess. Like for now, it's just like they like revealed that for the sake of revealing it, and they're just not.
Yeah,
like what's the point? So, and it's been like a year, so I wonder if this is something coming soon.
Maybe he has 2 whole chest hairs by now.
Yeah, maybe
one. Who knows?
Yeah. So we'll see on that one. Last of Devon's comments. Quick take on Rose's room. So is everything that appears in her room an illusion? I just figured everything that he wanted would materialize, becoming solid until he didn't want it anymore. But if the room is just a mental projection, why in previous episodes they make it out to be that the room could actually cause you harm?
Oh man, that's a good question.
He has the selfie, and it seems like it's
yeah, it does seem like it's
just
entirely an illusion.
You just project it into the person's eyes, and then they see that. I forget what like show or movie I saw this happening on recently, where like it's like this type of thing that you like you see an illusion that a specific person only sees type thing. Like that's what it seemed to be on here.
Maybe he could get himself, or because like in Rose's room, like he could interact with things, like he could climb things and like jump off of things. That I guess if they're technically not there, he could still give like dimension with his mind, deciding they're real. I don't know. It's a good question, but it does seem like it is all illusion.
Yeah.
Unless the phone just doesn't work in there, in which case, who knows?
Yeah, maybe that was that. I don't think that's what they're going for.
I don't think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in the specific mechanics of Rose's room. I don't know. It's also been a while. I also just forgot the last thing that happened in it. It's been so long. So
it's been a long time.
Yeah. Anyway, last thing, as promised, speculation on Ronaldo. So is Ronaldo going to be taken by...
No way.
No. So the description of this episode is Ronaldo sets out to find all the rock people living in Beach City!
All the rock people living in Beach... So is he going to go around accusing poor people of being rocks and just like, ruining their day?
Yes.
That's why I hate Ronaldo. Like, that's why.
Maybe this will be... Maybe this will be like turn into like a subtle like Trump commentary through Ronaldo. Like maybe that's what we'll do. No. Will Ronaldo succeed in finding the crystal gems?
I think, well, the thing with Ronaldo is like he's like kind of right, but
Ronaldo's always right? So like, what did he say, Pat, in the past that would be right now?
Well, when he saw the money, he's like, oh, like, it must be the Great Diamond Authority. They're here to hollow out the earth, which is totally true.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't do anything to help anyone. So, like, if he's looking for rock people, like, would the conclusion be that he finds out another, like, future, like, truth, but then nothing happens with it, and it's just funny because Ronaldo thought of it first? Like, I don't know.
You're obviously frustrated with the running gag of revealing future plot points through Ronaldo's conspiracy theories.
Nothing happens with, like, you talk about progression. How the heck is Ronaldo going to progress?
I actually think this is the episode when we bring Ronaldo into the light. Like, I think this is the one. Ronaldo figures out the crystal gems, and we like tell him stuff. And I don't know what
Bonnie, like what help is he gonna be to the human race if he's in on everything for real?
He's gonna be in on it. I don't know what the result is, right? Yeah. Like I don't know what that's gonna do, but I think he's gonna actually discover stuff, and it's gonna be great. That's my prediction.
If the show could make Ronaldo helpful.
What's Ronaldo? Are we seeing Ronaldo's GF in this episode? Former GF.
Oh, I hope so. Like
Princess Koala. What was her name? I don't even remember.
Jane?
But yeah, Jane. Yeah, Are we seeing Jane tomorrow
or
Friday or whatever?
Like, yeah. If they're an item, they should hang out more. She should go on his investigations with him. Maybe that'll help him from getting into other people's business.
Were they back together at the end of that episode? I don't even remember.
I think they got back together
at Restaurant Wars. I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got together.
Okay, let's hope so. For the sake.
I think so.
Will we have Ronaldo and Jane watching anime in this episode?
Oh God! Yes. Yeah, and he'll be talking about which is better, dubs or subs.
Yeah, they probably do that. Yeah, so much potential with
It's not,
Rocknaldo.
it's not potential, but it's something.
Yeah, tell us. Get your last minute predictions in before we, because we don't even have the 2 minutes or the preview thing yet. Like that hasn't been. So get your stuff in before that happens. Your final calls, and we'll be back with our episode discussion on Rocknaldo, the highly anticipated Rocknaldo next week.
Even the title is really silly, though.
Rocknaldo.
It's so stupid.
Man, it's gonna be great. I'm pretty hyped. I'm so much more hyped than any of the much more plot consequential Star Wars Force Evil episodes next week, right?
That's if that can't be true.
No, obviously that's not true.
You've been guessing Star for weeks. There's no way that's true.
Yeah, no, Stars. Yeah, no, much more excited for Star, but that's okay. And then no episode scheduled beyond Tiger Philanthropist the week after, so potentially.
That's what I'm super excited about. I want another Animathist episode.
Yeah, I think Rocknaldo will be more plot consequential than Tiger Philanthropist.
That
just calling that.
Suck so much, but
just calling it now. So we'll see about that. Yeah, we'll see. And then after that, we'll probably nothing for like March and April, I would assume.
Really? You don't think we're gonna have anything for 2 months?
That's what they did last year. Who knows? I don't know how many episodes they have stored, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I hope that's not true, though. I'd rather that happens and get weekly episodes than just like one bomb in like May or something, and then nothing until like July.
If they just do the Summer of Steven again, I guess I'm fine with that. So,
yeah, we had a trial run. We'll survive. Again.
I think I was largely successful last year, the Summer of Steven. So.
No, yeah, I totally was.
Yeah. But that's like 3 months of episodes, right? How long even was that, dude? Like that was July. Okay, it was mid-July into end of August,
yeah,
or mid-August. So it was just a month, whatever. But yeah, that's still like 20 episodes, so that'd be great.
It was a lot of episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Final comments, Michelle. Not on Ronaldo.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about that.
I know you were, but no, not anymore.
Storm the Room. Hopefully, it'll make more sense and be better in the greater context of the season.
Yeah, no, it totally could too. I'm open to that. That's a frequent discussion topic when Delaney and I cover RWBY. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah,
like maybe it won't be this bad. Maybe after the season finale.
No. RWBY's a show that plays better when you watch it all as a season, but it's a little rough week to week. So that's the type of thing. And Steven Universe, we consume it in such differing types of like this is weekly. We have daily sometimes. We don't even get episodes at all. So it's interesting. What will the future generations think when they marathon the whole thing? Right? That's the first great
gay children's show. That's what they'll think. There'll be so many at that point. They'll be like, "This is what started the trend. How quaint! Yeah, everything's super gay now."
Yeah, like, Mom, why are you showing this to me? Like, every show is gay now. Like, what's special about this show? Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
I was your age. We didn't have all these gay children's shows. You appreciate Steven Universe now.
Yeah. No, it's like, why would I watch this when I can watch the Ronaldo spinoff that's so successful? Oh my
God. Don't even talk any. No more words for you.
We need to start developing the Ronaldo spinoff. Let's get on that. Yeah.
They don't more Ronaldo. That's the other thing. Why does the universe just give us more episodes with the Ronaldo? Why not PD? I actually really liked PD.
Yeah, there have been no PD episodes. Yeah.
So we're in season 4, you guys. Where's the PD episode? Like, seriously. I think that's a huge shame.
Oh, will we see PD in Rocknaldo? Maybe.
That's the only thing I could ever be excited about. I really hope so.
I think we will, and PD will also be in on it, and PD's and Ronaldo are both members of the Crystal Gems now. That's what's going to happen.
And then Ronaldo accidentally dies, but then we still have PD.
Pretty rude. Yeah. Okay, so let us know your comments on any of this. Comments here, comments on YouTube, and get hype for Rocknaldo next weekend, Star coverage, and getting very close to the Star season finale on the 27th, so we're very excited for that. And consider supporting us on patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Andy, aka Buzz Lightyear. Thank you very much, Andy, frequent commenter as well, although not frequent commenter Steve, that's a different nickname. And we will be back for Star and SU coverage, and it's going to be great.
It's gonna be great.
It could have been great. Was that a Steven Universe
Yes,
title?
it
Okay.
was.
Yeah, there you go. That sounded
I
familiar.
thought of
So,
that also.
yeah. I thought of that also. Okay. Thank you guys very much for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.